You're gonna play ball one way or the other. Isn't Evans?
This is Tom Cronin, CIA operations officer calling from Langley, Virginia. Do you have a Jason Bourne in custody?
Yes, I do.
Listen, he's an agency priority target.
I understand.
Do you remember when you first saw those movies and saw Matt Damon in the role of Bourne, what your reaction to that was?
I remember first seeing the trailer, and that, you know, they've always actually been really good with trailers, and that really sold me, and I'm like, wow, that's just really cool. Just reminded me of movies that I loved growing up, like in French Connection, things that there's a level of realness, and you know, you see Matt Damon doing that stuff. There's no CGI, there's no effects. He's doing that, and like that was really, really, really cool, man.
Matt's terrific in them and everything. I think within the spectrum of you know, Mission Impossible and Bond and various forms of sort of quote-unquote spy movies, a lot of those other ones, they're fun, but they're definitely what I would call fantastical. They're kind of superhero to some degree. And there was always a feeling with the Bourne films that they were peeking behind the curtain of the things that are actually within the headlines that we see.
Hello, Landy.
This is Jason Bourne.
Bourne?
It's Bourne. 90 seconds to triangulate his position.
What do you want?
And behind those stories, you think to yourself, my God, like what is going on? And the Bourne films always gave you that little charge of feeling like they're grappling with the moral murkiness of the real world. We're in a culture these days of people feeling a little bit paranoid about government and corporations and things like that. So I think they're a bit more topical. I think they feel a bit more authentic to us in some way.
I want to come in.
Okay. How do you want to do it?
I need 35 seconds.
I need someone I know to bring me in.
Who?
There was a girl in Paris. She's part of the program. Send her alone. Give her your phone.
What if I can't find her?
It's easy. She's standing right next to you.
That's one of the basic pieces of DNA in this, and that's one thing that just hasn't changed. There has to be, and we've tried very hard, and hopefully it's part of our film as well, is a you know, a really rich, very real emotional life for the three characters that are in it, for Jeremy Renner, for Rachel Weisz's character, and for Edward.
When you were approached, was there a bit of apprehension about being in a Bourne movie and there was no Jason Bourne?
Yeah, I mean, there was some of that. I didn't quite understand, just like any of the fans of the franchise were kind of confused, like, how do you do another Bourne movie without Jason Bourne? I loved the idea of it always. So I was a little tentative, but when they secretly brought me the script and did this whole little song and dance, like, I was really, really surprised about how much I loved it and how smart it was and clever. So I couldn't wait. I was very excited about it at that point.
You've got what is the DNA, like you say, of a Bourne movie, and this is a Bourne movie. How difficult is that balancing act to deliver what people want and yet something new?
It was kind of a great opportunity as it presented itself. It sort of presented itself sort of gradually, and I think that the the fact that we were sort of tearing down the walls and saying, wow, there's this whole world outside of what you saw before. The fact that that's what the story was saying gave us the opportunity to do a couple things. It gave us the opportunity to have a slightly different visual style, because it's more of an epic kind of movie. It gave us a chance to have a different storytelling style. The Bourne movies were traditionally always, there was Jason Bourne and then there were all the people that were chasing him, and those were the 2 points of view. We have a third point of view in this film. We have Rachel Weisz's point of view. She's not an appendage of Aaron Cross. She has her own start in the movie, and she comes into the movie in a very robust way.
Hey, look, it's me. Do you want to live? Because I want to live.
In the history of the Bourne movies, there have been some brilliant, shady government character types. Was it a no-brainer getting involved in this movie?
Well, I think the main hook for me was that Tony was enthusiastically involved in it. He obviously had this role as the writer on the other ones. He's a director who's got this very, like, rapier-like feel for these murky worlds of conspiratorial corruption.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there is that. It requires not a lot of disbelief to imagine what is going on in these offices that your character inhabits is actually going on right now somewhere in the US. It harks back to that famous photo of Obama looking at Osama bin Laden.
No, absolutely. It's very, very banal in some ways. It's not. I mean, I'm not knocking other films because they're fun, but I don't think there's probably people with gecko gloves climbing glass buildings. But I do think, or whatever James Bond's toys are. But I actually do think that the way that, like, you see soldiers flying a Predator drone with people in suits standing behind them, I think that is in fact exactly how it actually happens. And I think that these relationships between, like, pharmaceutical contractors and government experimental programs, I think are demonstrably real.
You've had alterations to 2 different chromosomes. It's the most exciting development in the history of the science.
Well, I'm not just a science project, Doc.
For those who like a little bit of reality in their thrill, I think it's that's the audience for these. I think it's not that those other ones aren't fun; they're really fun.
Action!
We're in an era where I think people are really starting to enjoy stories, whether it's Lord of the Rings or great series like State of Play or The Wire, where television's kind of giving us these great serialized stories, The Sopranos, things like that. I think it's fun within the context of a story like this to keep opening out new chapters of it. And I really don't think that fans of the series will find themselves, like, groaning. I think they'll feel it's very, very cleverly done.
We've seen you in a couple of the biggest action movies of the last 8 months, Ghost Protocol, the Mission Impossible film, and of course The Avengers. And Bourne is obviously a lot more realistic in its action. On the ground for you, shooting that, how different is it?
The approach is the same, but having the support system of, like, there's no green screen around, and things like, okay, I can't fake this fight. I have to, really be able to do this. There's no faking anything. It's more fun. It felt like a tiny little independent movie for 2/3 of this thing, because it's very intimate and very inside the characters, and then it opens up to very big action set pieces with the motorcycle and Manila and that sort of thing.
There's one scene in this where Aaron Cross does something that Liam Neeson failed to do during the entirety of the film The Grey, which was actually punch a wolf. The trailer, he's going to punch a wolf. If you watch the movie, doesn't punch a wolf. You punch a wolf.
Oh, yeah.
You're fighting a wolf.
Multiple punches.
That must be great when you write that down, when you write that
Dude,
on
when you write that down, nobody wants to be, they're like, what are you doing to us? I mean, that was, no, nobody wants to see that. They're like, well, that's really cool, but we'll probably do something else later on. We're not doing that.
I think the trick is having a pocket full of chicken livers, and they like that.
Yeah?
They become very friendly then.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't look friendly on screen. It looks like it wants to tear
don't get
your
me
throat
wrong. They're
out.
wild and crazy, but they are trained enough to not want to eat your face. I don't think.
Yeah? You'd hope so when you.
That's the hope. At least that's what I thought when I went in. Yeah.
When someone says action, you go, can I just check before action? Is it going to eat my face?
Right.
Jeremy Renner, we are fresh out of time, but it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You think that Jason Bourne was the whole story? There's a lot more going on here.
I gave them everything. We both did.
Because your agent. It's all right. Thank you. I was pleased you actually paused us.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.